Kia ora, I'm Jemima, one of the Program Advisors at the Faculty of Law, and in this session we'll cover how the LLB works. The Bachelor of Laws is a 4-year program if studied full-time and can also be studied part-time. We have 2 admissions into the LLB program, LLB Part 1 for first year and LLB Part 2 for second year onwards. The LLB is taught at the city campus and, unlike other degrees, has no major attached to it. This means that everyone who earns an LLB degree gains a broad background in the law. This is the same across all New Zealand law schools. One difference is that the University of Auckland has the widest range of law electives to choose from, which include corporate and commercial, public, criminal, family, international, and environmental law. So there are a variety of law electives to choose from depending on your interests and career goals, which students typically begin taking in their Part 3 and 4 of the degree. For those who want to practice law in New Zealand, you must complete a New Zealand law degree or equivalent and then take the Professional Legal Studies course before being admitted as a barrister and solicitor. To get into the Bachelor of Laws Part 1, students must apply for the Bachelor of Laws specialising in Part 1 and a non-law bachelor's degree. This can either be the non-law degree on its own or as a conjoint with law. A law conjoint has a higher entry requirement, so we recommend that students interested in the conjoint to also apply for the 2 degrees separately as a backup option. In total, you should have either 2 applications or 3 if you're interested in the conjoint. Applicants who are accepted unconditionally into another bachelor's degree will also be accepted into LLB Part 1. It is important that you consult student hubs about the non-law bachelor's degree you are applying for if you have any questions about gaining entry. We normally get a lot of questions about what the entry requirements are or what rank score I need to get into law. On the screen you'll see the NCEA rank scores for all the single degrees available at the University of Auckland. As you can see at the bottom of the table, entry into the Bachelor of Laws Part 1 is dependent on you gaining admission into another degree program here at the University of Auckland. So for example, if you're planning to study the Bachelor of Arts with the LLB, you'll need a minimum rank score of 150. For more information for students wishing to apply for conjoints, studying IB or Cambridge, please see our website for more information. The LLB does not have any required subjects to be admitted into Part 1, but we recommend subjects that focus on linguistic and essay writing skills, which are useful for studying law. Subjects that promote your oral and critical thinking skills are also useful. Remember that you need to be admitted into another bachelor's degree to be accepted into LLB Part 1. So, you should check whether the non-law degree you are applying for has any required subjects you must take. There are a variety of conjoint options to study at the University of Auckland with law, and this allows students to study 2 bachelor's degrees at the same time in a shorter time frame with a heavier workload versus a double degree, and this is why there is a higher entry requirement. So, for example, if you studied the Bachelor of Arts and the Bachelor of Laws as 2 separate degrees, this would take 7 years. Whereas with a Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Laws conjoint, this would take 5 years. A conjoint program gives you the opportunity to acquire a wider knowledge base and also broaden your career opportunities. Here's how to apply. On the University of Auckland website, auckland.ac.nz, you'll see at the top of the page an Apply for Admission to Study button. From there, you can start your application for admission. You will need to fill out some details before you choose your program. Once you get to the section where you select your program, type in the search bar Law. This will bring up all the different law program options you can apply for. Once you have selected your program, it should look something like this. On the screen are 2 different applications. On the left, you'll see an application for the LLB specialising in Law Part 1. On the right, you'll see an application for the non-law bachelor's degree you also need to apply for. Follow the prompts for the rest of the application, and the final step will be to submit it. Once your applications have been submitted, you'll receive an email with further instructions. This next part of the presentation will explain more details about the LLB structure. A question you may be asking is, why do I have to apply for 2 programs if I only want to study law? In your first year of the LLB, students are required to enrol in at least 5 other non-law courses under the other program, along with 3 Part 1 law courses. This is because studying 2 disciplines broadens the knowledge of all law students, and it also gives you the opportunity to lay down the foundation for your other degree program if you wanted to pursue it. The LLB combines non-law courses from another degree, 1 general education course, compulsory law courses shown in dark blue, and law electives, and this is all in line with the New Zealand Council of Legal Education requirements. If you are planning to study the law degree on its own, we do recommend to complete the general education course in your first year of study. In a LLB conjoint degree structure, you'll see that students study the LLB alongside the other degrees simultaneously. Apart from the Bachelor of Engineering Honours and Advanced Science Honours conjoints, the law conjoint programs can be completed within 5 years at a heavier workload, or 5.5 years at a normal workload. If you're considering more than one major for your other degree, please note this may add courses and potentially another semester of study. Always consult student hubs about both program requirements if you have any questions. You'll also notice that the single LLB degree structure is similar to the conjoint degree structure in the first year. If at first you had no intentions of pursuing a conjoint, or you didn't meet the conjoint requirements, you can still apply for it later. Admission can be in the first year of study or at any point of your degree, so long as you have not passed more than 270 points from either degree component, which is about 2 years of full-time study. And then admission into the conjoint will be based on your GPA. As mentioned, the LLB has 2 different admissions. To get into LLB Part 2, you need to pass the law courses with certain grades, such as Law 121G with a minimum B- grade, or C+ for UTAS, to then move on to Law 131 and 141. You'll also need to make sure you pass your 5 non-law courses to be eligible for Part 2, so it's important you do well in all your courses. Don't worry, we will have information sessions in your first year covering this. Earlier I mentioned something called UTAS. This stands for Undergraduate Targeted Admission Schemes and is available for eligible Māori, Moana Oceania, and students from some equity groups. Apart from the progression from Law 121G to Law 131 and 141, students eligible under these schemes are also able to apply for admission into LLB Part 2 with these categories. For entry into LLB Part 2, we have a special GPA calculation, and this is called the Law GPA. The main thing to note here is that the grades for Law 131 and 141 are worth double. The overall average grade required for selection to LLB Part 2 varies each year, depending on the number of applicants we receive, so it's important you do well in all your courses. The entry requirements for LLB Part 2 are subject to change each year. Once you are admitted into LLB Part 2, there are no further GPA requirements to remain in the program. On this slide is an example of how the law GPA is calculated. The main thing to note is that 50% of the GPA is from your law grades. Again, don't worry about the details too much. We do cover this in information sessions in your first year of study. In the law school, we have student support advisors to provide pastoral care during your journey with us, and their information can be found online. Along with tutorials, workshops, and clinics you'll attend as part of your studies, there are also multiple mentoring programs within the faculty you may be a part of, which is a great way to meet others and have that additional support. The law school also has a variety of law student clubs and associations, all with their own academic and social events. Some clubs even have their own space in the law school, which students are welcome to use alongside study spaces and the Davis Law Library, which is a great resource. I hope that you have learnt more about the Bachelor of Laws and are confident in making your application. Should you have any further queries, visit Student Hubs, our website, or alternatively you can call or email. Applications are now open. All the best.